perspective, by the way, it's Russ here from Vancouver. When I talk about a leader's perspective, it's not just about you who's sitting there who's built multiple, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000 person organizations in the past. You're going to really, really appreciate what we're going to talk about right now. This is also for the individual who's sitting here and it's their first time. They're looking at what's going on, and I'm going to give you some insight into the future that, man, you've won the lottery by being here at the right time in the right place, because every one of us leaders who have been in the trenches, in the fight, in this home-based business industry, specifically working with a lot of network marketing or MLM companies in the past, there's certain things that we've asked the ownership to do to make it simpler on us, so we didn't have to spend so much time training our people and getting them launched, so we could spend our time really on the fun stuff. And what are the fun stuff? It's the daily income producing activities. We call them DIPAs here, daily income producing activity. You're going to hear me say DIPA a lot. And the reason I'm going to say it a lot is because it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it creates income. And anything that you have an opportunity to be able to create income from home is something that you should, have a lot of joy about when you jump out of bed in the morning and want to kick the devil in his face that day, and get dust off those shoes and hop on down the road. So I'm going to show you the back office here and why we devised it, why we did. So remember, everything I'm going to talk about, our goal was to look at the person who's sitting here today for the first time, or look at the person who might be in your house. Maybe you're doing a one-on-one at a Starbucks somewhere, whatever it is. And we want to put ourselves in their shoes and to think, can they do this? What do they have to learn? How fast do they have to learn it? Is this something that's systems oriented? Like if you read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and readers are leaders. Before you go to bed, grab a book and read 15 minutes. Let your subconscious mind start working on you being the best you can be. And the greatest thing about E-Myth Revisited, Michael Gerber, is he talks about the difference between a small business owner who's really just kind of flustered because something that they love to do, a passion, turned into a business, and then they got caught up in the management of the business, and eventually a lot of them get shut down because they don't initiate processes. And the most important thing about processes is when you think about a company like McDonald's, which is one of the largest land owning companies, real estate companies actually in the world, with their 20,000 plus units. The interesting thing about McDonald's is it's run by 14-year-olds who are doing what? They're pressing a button. That's all they're doing. They're using their index finger and they're pressing a button. Whether they're making a burger, coffee, fries, everything's in a system. Everybody's categorized to do their job the best of their ability. And the whole process is to create a product that is the same, a product that is homogeneous. And so everything that we've done here had those things in mind, so that you as the entrepreneur, because that's what you are now. If we're talking to you right now and you're seeing this for the first time, I'm going to call you an entrepreneur. So welcome to the club. That's really, really cool. And never look back. Never look back. Always stick to your guns and follow your dreams. And the coolest thing about what we put together here is that we're going to make it as simple as we possibly can for you to be able to follow things and follow through. Number two, we're going to make it as easy as we can for you to not only follow the daily income producing activities and do what it takes to be an entrepreneur from home, but give you an opportunity to focus 90% of your time on the fun stuff, which is building relationships with people, on the fun stuff, which is launching a newest person, telling your story of how you came about this and what happened in your first 2 weeks to a month because you got busy and you launched your business properly. Because a lot of people don't know how to do that. So we wanted to take all of that, 100 years of successful entrepreneurialism with the administrators who put this together and kind of jam everything in this back office for you. So looking at that, the first thing we did is we created a notification system. The notification system, what I would strongly suggest you do is once you watch the 5-minute movie to come in, I would suggest that you re-log in on your cell phone, and then you push the button to subscribe to the notifications on your cell phone. And here's why. Your cell phone is a tool, just like everything else. And the greatest thing with your cell phone is that when you're talking to people out there, whenever you get paid, remember with Pro One Plus Global, the future of business, you get paid instantly. And you get paid a lot, up to 85%. It's significant. You actually get paid what you're worth here, which is super exciting. So because of that, when you have your cell phone on and your businesses, your community is starting to grow in this new sharing economy, and all of a sudden you hear ding, 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 you got paid $2, $7, $15, $15, $25, $7, $15, $25. The people who you're dealing with, they're going to be looking at your phone. And when I do that, I have when I'm doing a meeting with people, my phone is up and I have the ding ding, and they're just going to see that infinity sign, because we've branded it with the infinity sign coming across, and you've made more money, and it shows how much money. You want that person sitting across from you seeing that. That's a great tool to have. So instead of burying everything in your email that you don't read, everything is notification with a blog that's located at the very bottom of the menu system here, under the support messaging, so that you can have an opportunity to be able to see all of the stuff that we've come out from the very first blog we've had. So even if you're getting, you're starting now, you can go back and read all the different stuff we had. So that's number one. Number two, we've automated everything for upgrades. I won't really talk about that, but it just makes a lot of sense. Number three, what we've done is I'm going to click on launch videos here. And this is going to go right to our Deepa University 100. There's about 8 different videos here, which teach you how to set goals, how to dream. If you're not jumping out of bed in the morning, your dream's not big enough. It's that simple. If you're dragging your rusty, dusty butt out of bed, then you know what you got to do. You got to do number 2 and number 3, goal setting and dreams. Remember, goals are the legs to the table of your dreams. And the work ethic that you have is ultimately going to be the magic that makes it all happen. But the coolest thing about this is these 2 things, 102 and 103, will succinctly set you up so that when you understand this new sharing economy and what we have here in this pay plan, especially on the infinity side, A, you're not going to sleep. Promise you that. You're going to be so dang excited. B, even though you don't sleep, I had 3 hours sleep last night. You know what I did? Man, I jumped out of bed before my alarm. I had 3 alarms set because I knew I was going to only get 3 hours of sleep. I got up before my alarms were set. Boom. I just woke up and said, boom, let's go. Let's go kick some butt today. Let's go have some fun today. Let's go launch some people into business today because I'm inspired. What are you inspired about? What is it? You need to do this stuff. Building the dream is the most important thing. And the coolest thing about this is that when people come back to you, leaders, and they go, well, Jim, this just isn't working for me. It's just, I'm looking at this other thing right now, but this thing isn't working for me. That's going to happen. You're going to have those conversations. And all you need to do is go, well, did you, why don't we go over the script? Well, what do you mean the script? Well, your 72-hour launch, let's talk about what are you going to say to people? Now that's whether you're promoting the 10 to infinity tool, or whether you're using leads, or whether you're just, doing the daily producing activities of the 72-hour launch. No matter what you're doing, you're going to have to talk to people at some point because you need people to understand what's going on. And if you don't know what to say and you're not prepared, then as a leader, and the reason we put this together is it's a gauge for you leaders. So when people ask you those questions, you can come back and say, well, did you do your goal setting in Deepa University? No. Well, I'd suggest you go do that. Because no matter what you do from this time on, if you're an entrepreneur, if you don't have goals set, you ain't going to hit them. It's just that simple. I played university basketball and got out of a terrible living situation of where I grew up, and I was the only person to do it because I set goals from the time I was in grade 7. Had a basketball in my hand 3 hours a day, shot 500,000 shots to get out of my situation. What are you gonna do? What's your goals? So if you don't know those things, you better figure them out. And the best thing about being a leader in this is the fact that we've done all this stuff for you. So now you don't have to make the stuff. You don't have to recreate the wheel. All you got to do is just build relationships. When people come to you and say, I'm having problems, you can use the Deepa University guideline in the series manual to get back into people and say, hey, What is your dream? Why do you get up? Why do you get up in the morning? What is it? Is what you have, is that enough for you and your family? If it is, that's a wonderful thing. Most people aren't there. Probably 98% of the population aren't in a position where they can honestly say that with their job, they get up, jump out of bed in the morning, and they're ready to go kick the world's butt. 98% of people aren't like that. So what we're doing is we're helping those people figure out what they really want. And that's coming through this. So as a leader and as a future leader, believe me, you're going to love the fact that you're not going to have to spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day when you have thousands of people on your team teaching them all of this stuff. You're not going to have to spend all your time when new people come in teaching them how to use the back office. Why? Because we've made the back office so that every single one of these menu items, you see the cursor going down and it's being highlighted. We have movies. That's what these red buttons are for. Those are YouTube videos that show you exactly what you need to do in order to understand how to use the finance tabs or community tool chest or social media, whatever it is. So you as a leader don't have to do that stuff anymore, because remember, the most important thing and the most important question that when you're dealing with people and talking with people is simply this: can that person do this? Okay, that's the only question that ever needs to be answered. Can the person who's sitting down the seat, can they do this? Okay, well, they can click a button and launch some videos and follow along. They can do that. They can click a button and copy this and send that out to some people based on what they've learned in the launch of the videos or Max Steingart stuff. They can click on Max and they can learn that. They can click on Social Media Center and see 600 different memes that they can just download to their desktop. And we've even took the top words to be able to hashtag. We did the research on that, so you can grab a couple of those words so that you can get even better results when you hashtag the memes that you put forth. So we've got everything for you, from the pop card to leads. Everything is there for you so that you don't have to do it as a leader. So what are you going to do? Well, you're just going to tell your people to plug in. That's really all it is. To say, look, you're a cell phone. And what do cell phones do after some use, after half of a day? They start to wear down. They don't work as fast. Well, you know what? These webinars and overviews we're doing, all they are is just the cell phone charger for a person who has a dream. So we need to figure out what our dreams are through the deepest, through those exercises. I have a dream board right on my cell phone, and every day it tells me some really cool thing I can talk about over and over and over again, which is really, really neat. And what we do, the coolest thing about that is we show you exactly what that is in our daily income producing university, so you guys can do those things. So that's really, really cool. And that's the whole impetus of what we've done here, from a scheduler that's weeks in advance. So you can, so if you want to know when Robert's doing his stuff for your Infinity member, because you need a top-down 1,000 view, and Robert's been killing it. His stuff's been awesome. And it's funny when I talk to Robert, and I do so he's a mentor of mine. I do at least an hour a week. The interesting thing about Robert is every time he does something, he comes back to me and goes, the most important thing is the person who's watching this video has to get value out of it. So how do we make better value? What do we do to make this better value? And that's one of the reasons why we did a digging deeper series. So after 4 separate weeks where we're dealing with a different subject, we come back and we go back over those 4 subjects so that we can dig a little bit deeper into them, because there's always other questions that come up that people ask that we want to cover, which is really, really cool. So the question that you always have to be asking is how, can the person I'm introducing this to do it? And that's why when I see pitches out there, right, I see pitches and stuff, and a guy will call me and says, yeah, I spent 3 hours with this person, pitching Pop G. And I'm like, 3 hours? Like, what the heck did you talk about for 3 hours? I said, I hope you built a relationship, everything about their family and all that kind of stuff. He says, I hope you spent your time doing that. And they're like, no, man, we're talking about Pop G. And I'm like, well, that's not the important thing. The important thing is the relationship. We've got the other stuff done. Just point them in the direction. Don't be a fool. Leverage the tools. Use your index finger. That's all this is. It's so simple. And that's why when you hear the word work, because work is in network marketing, a lot of people go, oh boy, it's, I don't like that word work. And I certainly don't like that word change. They're terrifying words to me. Well, that's okay. But what we've done is we're making the work fun. And that's why we have daily income producing activities. So instead of saying work to people, say, hey, have you deep it today? I'm going to deep it today. Have you deep it today? What does deepa mean? Daily income producing activities. What are you doing today to produce income that's going to change your family for tomorrow? Oh my God, I never thought of it that way. I don't know. What am I going to do? Well, I think the first thing you should do is click on that blue button when you go in your back office called Launch Videos and start to watch those 5 and 10-minute videos and download that manual and follow it. And let's figure out, who do you spend most of your time with? I don't know. I never thought about it. I'm kind of by myself all the time. Ooh, that's exciting, but it's also really scary. And it's why there's like, why is it scary, Russ? Well, I know when I'm by myself, I know what kind of crazy thoughts go through my head. So I got to keep my time where I'm putting good stuff in my brain all the time, because otherwise I'm going to miss the mark. Every single time I'm going to miss the mark. So I surround myself, because my will is not strong. Your will might be stronger than my will, but what's strong? My environment. So how do we make your environment stronger? Well, what we might have to do is take a look at some of the relationships we have that might be toxic, that might be vampire-ish. And we might have to make some decisions and go, you know what? Those relationships aren't feeding my family into the future. So I got to make a decision. What am I going to do here? Who are those 5 people who make $20, $30, $50, $100,000 more than me a year that I want to emulate? Not necessarily their character, because sometimes you have mentors who don't have a character that you might want, but I want to emulate specifically their work ethic and what they're doing. What do they do when they get up? What do they say to themselves in the shower? How do they start their level of intention for the day? And this is, I'm kind of going off the cuff here, and sometimes I talk about things just that kind of come into my heart. So I say them when they come into my heart. So obviously someone right now is going, man, how do I start my day, Russ? We're gonna deal with this in Deep University 200, but I'll give you a little bit of an insight of how I start my day. First, I wake up and I go in my shower, and I'm listening to an inspirational song, something that fires me up, right? And then during that time, I close my eyes, water's coming over my head, and I'm just praying, meditating, thinking, whatever you want to call it. And I'm seeing things grow. Okay. I'm seeing where this can go. I'm seeing where the team go. I'm seeing events. We have people and we have speakers, and man, we got some wicked speakers lined up for when we do an event. Robert's on that like a, big, huge, massive kid on a Smartie. And so we got all that stuff set up. So the intention for me is, okay, how do we make this simpler for the person who's a mailman who's never done anything before? And how do they think, I can do this, Russ? I can do this. I can see what you've done. I don't really have to learn anything. I can press some buttons. I can do this. The process is simple. Beautiful. Okay, let's get that down first. So how do we grow this? And I'm seeing this in my mind. And then I do a prayer. Now you might pray to the 3-legged turtle on top of the Statue of Liberty who is, on a Star Wars battleship. Whatever you pray to is what you pray to. I pray to God. I say, hey, find me those hungry people. Find me those people who are looking. Find me those people who are coachable. Find me those people who might need they might need a hand up, not a handout. Very, very different. They need a hand up. Find me those people who, who have a dream. And that's it. Boom, start my day. And all of a sudden you're out and about doing stuff. And how many times have we, when we're doing stuff, we come home to our significant others, our partners, who are way better than us all the time, by the way. And we go to them and go, oh man, I screwed up today. And they're like, honey, how'd you screw up? And I'm like, oh, I met the most amazing couple. And we had such a great conversation. The chemistry was there. And oh my gosh, they need this Pop G thing so bad. And guess what I did? What, honey, what'd you do? I didn't say anything. How many times does that happen here when you're building a business? A million times. You know why that happened? It's because you probably didn't have your goals written down. You probably didn't really have your poker figured out with respect to your why that makes you cry. But if you did have those things down, that can still happen. And usually the reason that it happened is because you didn't start your day with the intention to ask God, or maybe you believe in the universe or whatever it is. But for me, it's God. And it says, hey, God, find me these people are praying. There are millions, tens, hundreds of millions of people out there who are getting their arses kicked every day. Find me them. Let's go. Let's go. That's it. Ask for it. It's profound when you think of it. Pardon me. When you think of that, woo. Changes everything. Yeah. I was going to go preacher on you. I'm not going preacher, don't worry. I'm not going to thump you with anything. But, you know, the coolest thing is that you've got the ability to ask for who you want in your business. And those people will show up. And they'll show up in droves. And now all you need to do is just don't be a fool. Leverage the tools. Use your index finger. Keep it simple. And you can build relationships with those people, which is the most important thing, and help them see the vision and launch them so their future is changed. So with that, start your day always with intention. So when people show up in your life that are supposed to be there, you'll be there to help them out. With that, we'll take some questions, and I'm certainly done speaking for the day on this kind of training stuff, and let's rock and roll. So we got any questions? You can unmute yourself, Joe. If you want to unmute people, they can unmute themselves, raise their hands, and we'll get those questions answered.
Yeah, there was one question. They asked if they needed to repay their payment, what they needed to do. And what you need to do is go into finance and click on pay subscription, and you'll be able to repay that payment if you're
right finance pay subscription. Boom. Yeah. Great question. Great question. You guys have any more questions? Comments? Anything you'd like to see? We're open. We're building this with you. We're in the trenches with you building it. So anything to make this simpler for people, we're open to those suggestions. Love to hear them.
We got so many people in here. I'm trying to allow people to talk. We got so many people in here today that it's taking a while, so be patient.
Did you?
Yeah, I hit unmute, but for some reason it didn't. I'm going through here. Great crowd today. You can unmute yourself if you'd like to ask a question, or you can type in a question.
Hey, Joe, Russ.
Hey.
This is Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Can you go through a little short scenario, or do you not have that ready yet on the 10 to infinity to plug in?
When you say a short scenario, can you expound on that question a little bit?
Well, I mean, I know that some changes have occurred where they're able to take credit and debit cards now. So is that something you guys can run through real quick in a minute or two?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when someone sends out their 10 to infinity link now, they can simply just sign up. The most important thing is to make sure that if the person is already in Pro One Plus Global, when they go to the Express sign up, because it's Express sign up now, that they put in their Pro One Plus Global username and passcode, because then at that point, everybody who comes into their 10 Infinity link will follow them. So that's the most important thing for people who are already in Pro One Plus Global. The great thing with the 10, with the Visa versus just, having to do things through piffing it or going to the blockchain solution that we had, is the fact that it's going to be a lot simpler for people to be able to come in. But the most important thing you can do in using that tool is to make sure everybody who's using that tool knows where they make their money. They don't make their money. That tool pays for people to come into the fast track system so that people can ultimately grow and build up to infinity. So the income is coming through the fast track and the infinity pay plan through PopG. So it's really, really important to be able to get your individuals on these calls so that they understand what the real product is. Because the real product is PopG. That's where the money is made. And because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is there's going to be a confusion. And when people are confused, nothing happens. They just kind of freeze up. And B, what's going to happen is people won't have the potential of any sort of business culture to be able to really grab onto to be able to have a future with. And that's something from a culture point of view also, Steve, we're working on right now. I just tentatively hired an individual who's fantastic at engaging an audience, and he's a really, really big player in the field. And he's just come aboard. He's actually a business associate of mine, and he's getting offers by a ton of different companies. I talked to him yesterday and said, look, this is what I need. Can you do this for us? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that for you guys. And it's going to be awesome because now we can create a social media culture that we don't have now because we just launched, but that is going to be created over the next few weeks as he comes aboard and starts doing Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives and so forth. Because the coolest thing about doing Facebook and YouTube Lives is the fact that as we teach our vendors this, when they're doing that, we can just send that link out while we're in Facebook and YouTube and stuff and have other people who are in that community join and look in and go, wow, this is really, really cool. And it creates a very viral type of growth on social media by doing things like that. So I hope I answered your question. The $10 is quite simple. Just go in there, press the, press the link, follow the prompts, and you're good to go.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, James, you're unmuted. Did you have a question?
Yes. What happens if you don't have the $39 or the $96 every 28 days and you're not able to pay it? What happens?
Well, first thing, remember in 2012 when the Mayans had that calendar and the world was going to end?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. I'm just joking. No, we're not going to do anything like that. See, this is the coolest thing about Pro One Plus. We're all into this together. And most companies, if you don't pay your, you pay your auto ship or whatever it is, they penalize the living daylights out of you. Like they really make it hurt. With us, we looked at that. We said, okay, that's the old way of doing business, and we understand why people did that. But the problem with that is this: if you want to change your life, you're going to come to us and you're going to learn and you're going to start to do things that are going to change your life because now you've got the knowledge to be able to do that. And we hope we create a culture of safety and inclusion so that everybody wants the same opportunity to be able to move their lives forward. Now, for some people, it's going to take days. For some people, it's going to take weeks. For some people, it's going to take months. But you're going to learn specific things to exactly do, which we know get results. So whether that's the 10 to infinity tool coupled with making a list and doing a 72-hour launch, there's different ways to skin the cat. So we wanted to make sure, like, that's the reason we didn't have a specific auto ship. And that was a bone of contention, between the admins as well. Some wanted, some didn't. It was kind of a fine line. And eventually we just said, look, you know what? Let's be different than the other companies. Because I don't want to be in a position where some person who maybe, is on a fixed income and they want to do something for whatever reason, life gets in the way and they can't do something that month, but maybe they put a couple people in their group and then all of a sudden they can't pay the next month. What happens? Well, we don't want to take their group away from them. We want to give them access based on the information of what they paid. And we give trial members a massive amount of, our whole Deeping University really should be in fast track. But we kept it in trial because we want everybody to learn these skills. That was a very hard decision to make, because that's great knowledge, and to give that away for free, because that's where our intent and our hearts are, is to be able to help everybody out based on your ability to be able to take a look at the information and grow. Now, if you're in and you just have two people who have followed you, whether they followed you through 10 to Infinity and they've got their hives done, or whether they're doing that and you found some people because you've launched, made a name list, and you've gone through and you've got, 3, 4, 5, or 6 people who want to follow you. By just having 2 people follow you in Fast Track, you're always going to have $11 more for the next month. Now, if you fall to the point where you can't pay that for whatever reason, but the next month you pay it, well, what happens is you're not going to lose your group. Your group's going to still be there. Now, while you didn't pay that money, what's going to happen is the computer's going to find a person who's above you, who is, who is actively paid, and pay that out for them until you come back next to pay it. But you're not going to lose your group.
Great. That's
which is
wonderful.
really, really cool. But the thing is, James, is I don't want you to ever be in a position, to be honest, where you ever have to think about that again. Like, we've got enough information here that if you go into the goal setting and the dream part and you really figure out those things, and it might take you this weekend to do it, and that's okay. Spend the time on you. Like, I remember hearing the stat, and this is so true, that we spend more time trying to figure out and plan a vacation that we're going to be gone for 7 days and more tired when we come home from the vacation than when we left. It's kind of funny how that works. But we spend more time on the vacation than we do of figuring out what we really want in life. So one of the reasons we did the things that we did is because we want you to really figure out what makes you tick. What is it that, like, it could be something that really pees you off. I played my best basketball because I'm the happiest panda bear you'll ever meet. I'm the biggest, happiest dude that you'll ever meet until you get me on a basketball court. Then you just do not want to be in my face because I'm going to rip your face off because I love to compete, right? But the thing is I love the game so much, I was always happy until we were down because I hate losing. Oh my God, I hate losing. Nothing worse than losing. So, I remember one time being down by 30 at half and the team was kind of dejected and the coach wasn't saying anything and I just lost my crap in the thing because I can't stand being down. And we went out and we won that game by 20 points. Totally shut the team down. We were one of the top teams in our state where we came from. But it's one of those things that, you have to look at those things that are going to make you figure out why you want to get up and you want to kick some butt. We've given you all the tools to do that. And we're always here to talk to you about those things as well. Because that's the most important thing that we can do in building relationships is to know, James, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that's going to get you out of bed? What is it that's going to make you look at that phone as your friend? Because you're going to help other people out. And guess what I just smelled? Oh my gosh, I just smelled bacon and sausages. I texted Joe and I said, it's 9:47 at my house. Where's my bacon and sausages and waffles? And they just permeated through the door. So this webinar is, I'm just joking. Woo! Sorry.
Orlando, you have a question. You can unmute.
You got to have fun when you're doing stuff, guys, too.
Oh, no, I'm just enjoying, hearing from you guys. I'm excited to be here. I actually hit that button by mistake, so thanks.
Well, thanks for coming, Orlando. It's great to have you on today. So do you guys have any other questions or comments? And I hope, James, I answered your question for you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Is it better to pay the 39 and the 96 while you're building over there? With the 10 to infinity?
That's that's a great question, James. And this is my take on it. And I'm going to give you the take from a straight entrepreneurial take on that. Okay. So if I have the ability, I look at it this way. If I have the knowledge in my hands where I could put some daily income producing activity together and do tasks that are going to change my life because it's up to me. It's not up to anyone else. It's solely up to me at that point. And that's the exciting thing about being an entrepreneur is you look in the mirror and it's up to you, right? So it's like, wow, it's up to me. The world's my oyster. And then it's up to me and it's, oh my God, I want to go sit in my lazy boy chair, right? And that's just simply dreams and goals, dreams and goals. Once you figure those things out, you're going to come after this like a bat out of Hades, right? You're going to be just like a phoenix. You just be lit up, and you're going to attack this thing. And when you attack it, what's going to happen is, I think the entrepreneur would look at the whole system as a system, step back 1,000 foot and look at it and go, okay, what do we have here? We have a very simple system. We have a compensation plan that pays an amazing amount of money for a small group. It's incredible. So how do I make this grow faster? Well, if I put in my own 39 bucks and I upgrade to 96, what that means is that now I have a story that as I fill my hive, because just so you guys know, I filled my first hive yesterday. I'm on my second hive right now, right? So, because I'm doing this, like I'm filling hives too, right? It's a tool. And the coolest thing with that is that those people who have gotten to the hive, they're starting to fill their hives. Guess what it's going to do? It's going to make the community build faster. So if I just did the $10 tool, that's great. And I understand what all the Pop G stuff's about. That's a wonderful thing. But if I have the ability to take some of my income, of my discretionary income, and pay the $39, that means the $39 that I make in that hive, I can piff that to someone else who may need it. So I'm growing my business faster. And if I'm teaching that to my people as an entrepreneur, it's very cyclical. Now what's happening is the tool through PIF is feeding Pop G, and Pop G, because people are reinvesting in Pop G and they're reinvesting in the tool and the PIF, more hives are getting filled, right? So it becomes a very circular, of almost a closed system, a closed economic system to be able to help everybody out. So as an entrepreneur, what I would do is I would look at balance. I would look at doing the $10 thing because it's a tool, just like anything else. And then also investing as much as I can in myself, in my business, to make the community grow faster. Because you know what people do? People do what you do.
And let me elaborate on that. If you are in part of a sharing economy, what I'm sharing with people is come in at the $39 level. They pay $39 and I'll pay their way the $10 into their funnel. So in other words, they come in, they make the commitment of 39. I pay the $10 to put them into the funnel after they register. And then you can get people that way. So you can get a couple of people, and that way you have them in the funnel. And as he alluded to, once they go through the funnel, they have an additional $39 that they can pay it forward. Any other questions?